Hello, welcome. It's the end of the first week of July. After a really dry spell, we're due some rain today, finally. It's very calm at the allotment today, no wind at all. Yesterday, better the calm before the storm. Yesterday was the wind before the rain perhaps, which made it very hard for me to demonstrate my sunflowers. So my sunflowers are out, all coping so far with the blustery wind conditions. All the flowers seem to be pointing in the wrong direction. Let's go around the back so we can see them a bit better. The wind's making this problematic. Let's try this again with no wind. The sunflowers behind me are out, but they're all facing in the wrong direction. Let's have a look at them from the other side. So the sunflowers have started to bloom. They're not even facing in the direction of the sun. I don't know what's going on. So let's have a quick look at what else is going on at the plot. The squash and pumpkin are starting to identify themselves. Pumpkin. Butternut squash. Pumpkin. Courgette. Pumpkin. Our parsnips have germinated. We're going to have beetroot this year. Green beans are doing okay. Sweet corn's coming on. We will have tomatoes. The leeks are getting bigger. To harvest my red currants soon. All the cherries have been stripped from the tree by birds. With the exception of those, I've got it in an organza bag for protection. Just a little bit longer for them. Make sure they're nice and ripe. Looks like we're doing alright for apples. Pears too. Maybe even some plums this year. The verbena's flowering and looking great. So yesterday I harvested my broad beans, which were located in that space there, next to the sweet corn. Let's go back to yesterday and show you how that went. So I sowed these broad beans in December. Last year I only had one broad bean plant that actually produced anything and survived. Everything else died due to the sort of damp conditions. So I left the beans on the plant till they dried out in the pod, saved the beans and then re-sowed them. So I'm quite surprised that just about every single one germinated and produced plants. There's an argument I should have been harvesting these as I go, maybe smaller bean pods, smaller beans, but for one reason or another, I've just left them all. So the plants have stopped flowering, they're showing signs of that they've reached maturity. They're not going to get any bigger, they're not going to produce any more beans, so time to harvest. So beans are nitrogen fixing plants. They take the nitrogen from the atmosphere and put it down into the roots. So nitrogen is great for helping plants to grow. So instead of stripping the bean pods off the plants, pulling up the plants, I'm going to chop the plants off at the base, keep the roots in the ground so the nitrogen stays in that soil, enriches the soil, and I'm going to take the whole bean plants over to the grassy area and pull the bean pods off there. So let's do that. As you might have seen, I started off with big loppers downgraded to secateurs, and then most of them actually just sort of snapped off. So they've kept the weeds at bay, the broad bean parts, so quick tidy up of there. I'm going to strip the pods off the plants. So there's my pile of bean plants. I'm going to strip the pods off, put them in a pile, put the plants on the compost heap. Let's have a photo montage. Quick strawberry break. So there we go, broad bean harvest 2025. So let's open up a little one. So a few that are a bit smaller, with obviously smaller beans. So they're like soft enough to munch on without cooking. Then we've got the bigger ones, some more mature, thicker skins on them. Beans, struggle to get this out. Here we go. But we can see perfect beans inside. These bigger ones probably a bit tough for eating raw. Yeah. But they can go in the cooking pot. Right, broad beans 2025. So what am I going to do with all those broad beans? Well, I put eight to one side to dry out and replant the beans. So I've topped up my compost heap with the remaining leaves and plants. So this is a compost area at the minute. That's all from this year, plus the broad beans just put in there. Empty, definitely filling up. First job is to get all the beans out of the pods. It's a long process. It took two of us maybe about half an hour to do that. So I took some of those beans to one side, a bit of olive oil, a bit of salt and pepper, and a bit of homegrown chili powder made from last year's chilies. Roasted them for about 25 minutes. We got a nice healthy broad bean snack. So most of those broad beans are blanched in boiling water for 2 minutes. Immediately then put them in cold water to stop them cooking any further, and double podded them, so taking off that outer skin. You don't necessarily need to do that with the really small beans, but most of these beans are a bit more mature, sort of thicker skins on them. So that was another process which maybe took about 20 minutes, half an hour, but we got there. So some of those broad beans that I've double podded straight in the freezer to use later in the year. Some I mixed with some chickpeas, some homegrown garlic, a little bit of homegrown chili powder, salt and pepper, a little bit of olive oil, and I made broad bean hummus. A little cracker there. Let's have a taste of that. That is pretty good. Yeah, that is good. I'm going to tidy out the greenhouse. So with rain coming soon, and it's supposed to be really heavy rain, I don't need to worry about watering the plot outside. So good opportunity for me to sort out my greenhouse a bit. It's only a bit of pottering around. The chilies that we've got, there's just some sort of weeds starting to grow at the bottom of those pots. And the tomatoes, I need to move them from the table onto the floor because some of them are starting to grow very tall and reaching the ceiling. So yeah, a bit of pottering about. So not a massive job weeding these chilies. Just take out all the greenery is growing around the base of the plant. Make sure that when I water the chilies, they're getting all the water that goes in the pot. Not sharing it out with some unwanted weeds. A few of those to go out. A really good, or maybe bad example of why you should stay on top of your weed. Is there a chili plant in there? Is there even a... Smell herbal. Come on, where are you? Ah, there is one in here. There is one in here. And a load of grass. Come on. There we go. One of my smaller chili plants. It's got flowers on it. And the label. So now to move my tomatoes from the table to the floor. So hopefully they won't be touching the ceiling anymore. So I'll be honest, I probably wasn't on top of keeping those tomato plants trimmed. There's a few suckers I needed to remove. With them being so tall, I've actually strung some string along the roof of the greenhouse to fasten them up, keep them upright. One of the plants got damaged as we were doing the move because I'd let them get too overgrown and not fastened them up properly, so that's snapped. But it's got some tomatoes on it, so we should be alright. So the chili plants have been weeded and the tomato plants have been moved. One tomato plant casualty along the way, but like I said, we should still get tomatoes from that plant. There's one chili plant that's got really long and straggly. Maybe it's not getting enough light. I've had to put a new cane in it, but it's got chilies on it, so we should be alright. Does it look any better in there? I feel a bit more organised, and I've done the weeding and I've caught up on my tomato plant pruning. Anyway, where's all this rain we were promised? And there's the rain. Better late than never, I guess. Thanks for watching. Click subscribe. Send me a comment. See you next time. Cheers.